Hi, my name is Vishal Mehra. I've been a part of the global tourism industry since 1989. I've had the good fortune of launching countless destinations in multiple countries. I've worked with multiple nationalities. I worked in different geographies. Today I work as a consultant. I help startups in the tourism space and the mid-segment companies who seem to be stuck, where the revenue has become kind of stagnant. So when I work with my clients, what is my process? How do I audit and how do I help my clients grow? Well, in this video, I want to share with you what my process is, what are the things that I do first when I'm engaged to either set up a new travel startup or to help grow an existing one. So this is going to give you an overview of the exact process. The first thing that you start with is you have to identify your niche, identify your audience. Anything that I start doing starts with identification of the niche first. You have to first and foremost identify your niche. You could be a jack of all and master of none, or you could go into a specific niche. Both would have their advantages and disadvantages. Don't just combine the two. If you want to go into the mass market, being a jack of all, you have to remember you'll be dealing with a high churn of clients, as the products you'll be promoting would have a lot of competition. In 90% plus cases, the only driving factor would be the price. If you have a large database of clients and this has worked well for you, my suggestion is post-COVID-19, focus only on this segment. On the other hand, if you want to go as a specialist, you want to go into a niche, as a specialist, you can always demand more for curating your products. So if you want to go into a niche, then I would suggest not only go into a niche, but also find your micro niche. As I learned a long time ago, it is better to go an inch wide and a mile deep rather than going an inch deep and a mile wide. If you're a small travel agency, you will find more success in a micro niche segment as you would be treated as a specialist and not as a generalist. It's the same case with the medical profession. You pay more for a specialist than you pay for a generalist. Similarly for the travel also, if you are a specialist, you can demand more because the products you'll have would be highly curated. Naturally, the question is, how do you identify your niche? So think about it. What is that one thing that your peers and your industry colleagues call you for? It could be for a destination, so you could be specialist for a destination. It could be planning travel for a particular segment. Whatever people call you most for when they are stuck is exactly where your niche lies. And that is what you have to develop further. So giving an example, family travel is a niche. But if you're only promoting family travel to a specific destination or a region, that could become your micro niche. Or if your focus was family travel with preteen kids, that would be a micro niche. Go ahead, first identify your niche. When I work with a client, the first thing I do is I see whether we can work in a niche or not, because if you don't work in a niche, we're going to go broad. If you go broad, there are too many different factors. You see, the market identifies you either as a mass market player or a specialist player. Market very seldom identifies you as both as a specialist for both. It doesn't really work that way. The second step is do a research on your audience. Now this includes both your current audience and the prospective audience. Once you have identified your niche and your micro niche, but before you curate any products, this is the time to do research. Research to see how big your audience size is and if it is sustainable for you in the long run. Now this can be achieved by defining the demographics and psychographics of your audience. You have to do a demographic profiling and a psychographic profiling of your audience. In brief, what do demographic and psychographic profiling do? Demographics would help you identify the audience based on age, gender, occupation, ethnicity, geolocation, education level, and religion, if you are into religion-based travel. And psychographic profiling would help you with personality characteristics, lifestyle, social class, attitudes, principles and beliefs, and activities and interests. With this data, you'll be able to create better products and you would be able to identify your future pool of audience better. Every piece of content, once you have identified your audience and then you curate it, would be based on meeting the requirements and answering the potential questions of your prospective clients. So very important to first understand what segment you want to operate in. With this out of the way, it is time to then identify your products, both current and the future ones. To establish yourself as an expert, you will start with a few products. We never say that go into too many markets or start with too many markets or start with too many products. Start with a few where you have the absolute domain expertise. You know what your clients should be doing in that destination. Where should they be staying? Where should they be eating? So identify all this, put it together as a beautiful package or as a beautiful content piece. Now, this content piece should be a minimum of 1,000 words, ideally about 2,000, 2,500 words, so that it can establish you as an expert in that particular segment. So once you have identified this, it is important to have the next round of products already on the table to start planning for these. So depending upon your niche and of course your service and the client's past experience with you, each client would have a life cycle with you. If you're in a niche where your focus is, let's say, family travel with kids, your clients may take 3 to 4 trips with you. Could be more, could be less, but let's say in general they'll take 3 to 4 trips with you. So you need to have alternate products ready for them for the future. The idea of planning these well in advance is to build the momentum by sharing the teasers with your list way before launch and getting them excited. Ideally, when we have reached this stage where we start with what kind of tools you would need, the first one is to have a reliable hosting for your website. See, in majority of cases, I have seen that the travel agencies neglect the choice of hosting. And they tend to go with the cheap shared hosting. It's just a website, right? Let it be there. What can go wrong? It's not a bad thing to have shared hosting, but these would never be the fastest websites. Every second the client has to spend longer waiting for your website to load, the chances of the client bouncing away increases. So with every 1 second, you can nearly say that there's a 50% more chance of the client leaving and bouncing away to some other website. What you need is a fast VPS or a cloud hosting with caching technology enabled. So I have one video which is based on hosting for free on Google Cloud, and I talk about how you can leverage the Lightspeed caching there. Take a look at it, maybe that works for you. If not, look for a hosting that provides you with Lightspeed caching. Before you choose your hosting provider, before you decide, okay, this is the VPS I want, this is the cloud hosting I want, think a little ahead. Would you be needing a second website in the future? Would you be needing to host your own email marketing solution on that? Keeping all this in mind, decide at this point of time where you're going to host and how much space you need. So just to understand this a little bit better, so think way ahead, how many websites would you need? Are you going to host your own email marketing solution, or are you going with a SaaS solution? Hosting your own email marketing solution is a cheaper option, but limits your automation capabilities. If you don't intend to use a lot of email marketing automation, then hosting is a better idea. And in which case, you need to ensure that the VPS or the cloud solution that you're using can handle this, because at the back end, an email automation tool or an email marketing tool needs to run a cron job. So just calculate the costs beforehand. See, a lot of people I've seen, a lot of clients I've consulted with have jumped head first and started with MailChimp because they got the free plan and 2,000 customers, the first 2,000 subscribers were free. Now, as the list kept on growing, the amount that they were being charged every month kept on growing as well. And it reached a stage where they were paying anything between $250 to $300 just for having the email marketing. MailChimp till very recently did not have any major automation in it. So do you really want to spend that kind of money? Do your math. Next, it is very important to configure your CRM. I have a 7-part video series on how a travel agency can configure the CRM to their needs. Please do watch it. It'll help you a lot. Getting this free CRM absolutely customized to where a travel agency should have it. So once your website is ready, once your product is ready, once your CRM is set, it is time to drive leads to your business and increase your social media presence. In today's day and age, you should be relying more on tools which can automate tasks for you, including social media. Now, it makes more sense that you automate it and do not have to do it on yourself every single day. There are tools like Hootsuite and Buffer which can easily automate tasks for you. If you don't have a budget right now to go for an automation tool, Hootsuite has a free plan where you can choose up to 3 platforms and schedule up to 30 posts in advance. This would be enough for you to get started. As a travel agency, Facebook and Instagram is what most of the agencies I've seen focus on. In my opinion, people neglect Pinterest. Don't neglect Pinterest, don't neglect LinkedIn. These both can be excellent sources of getting business for you. If you have a travel agency, you should have a LinkedIn company profile page. Posting regularly on your travel agency LinkedIn page also helps you build up a fan following. And this can also in turn help you in creating a reliability factor in the minds of your potential and prospective travelers. Continuing on the same subject of social media, what I do is I get apps like Tailwind for scheduling posts on Instagram and Pinterest. I absolutely love Pinterest for retail sales. Once the link is up there, you'll keep on getting links for years to come. It's not going anywhere. That link that you've posted, that pin that you've put up there, if somebody is searching for a particular keyword and you have used the right keywords, that link is going to show, that pin is going to show up. You will get a click back from that link. Don't neglect it. Use an automation tool, schedule well in advance. That'll do you a lot of good. As someone who likes to automate things, I recommend to my clients to put the social media outreach on autopilot. It is better to spend time in answering the comments and getting the pulse of the people rather than spending time on posting. A tool is a much more affordable option versus hiring a dedicated resource for posting. It is also a good idea to have Facebook Messenger on your website versus a chatbot. A Facebook Messenger helps you build audience. Always use Facebook Messengers. Now, if you are interested in getting a Facebook Messenger, do take a look at the video that I've made on the CRM where I've explained about the Facebook Messenger. That with the HubSpot CRM is a great tool to have. Do remember, your best content should also be your downloadable content. Now, this is very important for lead generation. So take an example. You create a great guide for families travel. What can a family do when they travel to this a particular destination? You get a lot of traffic to this page. The best thing to do would be to make this a lead magnet for you. If you're not growing your list, you're not getting new leads in, you will run out of prospects to sell to. On this guide, create a content checklist and make this checklist a one-click sign up using Facebook or Google. There are tools like Boost which can help you with this. So the traffic that comes to your site comes there, reads about it, and then bounces off. You want them to take something from the site and in return give their email address, give their name and phone number so that you can in turn connect with them in the future and sell them. You have to make every visit count. Every visitor to your site should be treated as a prospective client, even if they're just doing research. When you're setting this up, once you have collected their email address, their contact details, always redirect them to a thank you page. There's a reason for this, which I'll explain you. Once you redirect them to a thank you page, we will use this in a later stage for retargeting them. So what should you do once you have this lead? Warm them up gradually. Never be in a rush to sell them. If they don't want to buy at that point of time, they may only be at the research stage. You have to go a mile deep. Remember I had said you have to go a mile deep. If you have gone a mile deep, you would have enough content on that destination. You can then build up an education series on it. So let me give you an example here. You have this amazing guy having your best Kenyan safari with young kids. Well, choosing a title, please also remember that do some SEO research beforehand and see how good that title is for your SEO. So in this case, Kenya Safari is a good keyword. By having this in my title, I'm also helping my SEO. So please do remember this. Now the guide that you have created has been written keeping parents in mind who are traveling with kids. You have a downloadable checklist here for what they should absolutely pack when they're traveling to Kenya with kids. Now once they've downloaded this, trigger an automated email series and call it education series. How would you set up this automation? So set up a trigger 24 hours after they have clicked the link to download the checklist in your automated email, they receive an email telling them about things to do in Nairobi. See, if they're traveling to Kenya, there's a 90% chance that they would arrive in Nairobi. Mention about things like, in the first email, hey, go visit David Sheldrick Orphanage. This David Sheldrick Elephant Orphanage is a great place to go with kids because they'll get to see a lot of young elephants. Also talk about, hey, you can go and hand feed giraffes in the giraffe center in Nairobi. If you can find videos to this, great. If you work with a travel partner, ask them if they have videos. check on the Kenyan government, Kenyan tourism website. If they have videos, get those videos, use them in your email. A video will convert much faster. Now set another trigger on these videos. Once they have clicked either link of the videos, 24 hours later, share with them another email. What are the advantages of visiting Lake Elementaita or Lake Nakuru or Lake Naivasha, and how this would be a great experience for them when they are traveling with their kids, and why spending 2 nights there would be ideal. Once again, look for videos. Talk about the highlights of this place. If you don't have videos, what do? If you don't have videos, have a separate page which is not showing up anywhere on your website, and redirect them from that page, from your second email that you send, to this page to give them that information. So set a trigger based on what action they have taken on this mail. On a link click, videos, or a page, share another email with them why they should consider a hot air balloon when they are in Masai Mara, and how it can be a life-changing experience for kids. So try and make a 5 to 6 part series here, and this education series will at least help you create a brand recall. So today, the lead needs between 15 to 20 touch points to become a client or to have a brand recall. So every time you send an email, every time you redirect them to your page, you show them something, it is creating a brand recall. Now, why do I want you to call this an education series, and why should you consider calling it an education series? Because with the word education series in the subject line, your open rates are going to improve. Then comes the question of why I choose to trigger my emails, or why do I recommend to trigger the emails 24 hours after they have performed a link click. See, A, you don't want to spam their inbox. B, if they have not opened the first email, what is the point of sending them the second email? So when you use an automation, this would automatically get detected. Now the other thing, let's say I've sent them the first email and they've not opened that one. What do? At this stage, you have this option of if this happens, then do this. So it's called if this, then that option in automation. If they've not opened, I would actually put them onto a funnel, which would take them into a Facebook retargeting audience. See, I need to create a touch point. At all stages, I need to create a touch point, if not through an email education series, then through Facebook retargeting ads. So you could put them on a retargeting ad there. Once your clients have moved through your education series or have been put into the retargeting audience, what do you do with this data? Always create 2 groups for every audience you have. If you're running a campaign for Kenya, or if your lead page is for Kenya, have 2 different audience groups. One is inquired Kenya, one is Kenya clients. And never mix the 2. So those clients who are in inquired Kenya will continue to receive all your newsletters where Kenya is featured. But those who've already become clients for Kenya, those who've already traveled to Kenya, wouldn't you rather target them for some other destination? This is a mistake I see a lot of travel agencies make. You send out the same email to everybody. Why? Because you have not differentiated between your audiences. So keep 2 groups for every destination you promote. That is very important. This would help you send relevant information to the clients, and you will see this helps with conversions as well, because the clients start seeing you as a more professional company. Now the next point is, I see a lot of people use social media for posting links and posting your content, but you do not use social media for advertising. I would suggest embrace advertising on social media. Putting your product in front of your prospect is extremely important. See, this becomes the backbone of your marketing. See, back in the early 90s, when we launched the first dedicated travel agency for Nepal, we were, even at that time, very niche specific. There was no social media, there was no Google, there was no mobile phones, there was no WhatsApp. But what we had was newspapers. So what we used to do was, we would take a combination of 1 half-page ad and run it in every major newspaper. That was enough. Those were enough touch points that were needed. That would get the clients to start calling us up. But situation has changed completely today. So today, your clients have an attention span of 8 seconds. A goldfish has an attention span of 9 seconds. So our attention spans are 1 second less than that of the goldfish. And as I've already mentioned, against 1 to 2 touch points that we needed back in the early 90s to 5 to 12 touch points that were needed till about 10 years ago. Today we need about 15 to 20 touch points to create a brand recall. Social media advertising helps you create that brand recall. So please do remember that. To make sure that your social media advertising works, always ensure that you have your Facebook pixel, Google Analytics, and LinkedIn Insight tag installed on your website. This would be needed at a later stage for you to either create an audience, curate an audience, or retarget the audience. So if you don't understand this, just go on YouTube and see how to install Facebook pixel, how to install Insight tags. It's a pretty straightforward process. Or if you have a website designer, ask them to do it for you. So a very common feedback that I received from a lot of my clients is, we ran 3 to 4 campaigns, but didn't get any results. My question is, you ran 3 to 4 campaigns. Question number 1, did you run these for a specific niche? If you ran them as a general promotion, you boosted a post, that doesn't really count. Second thing is, did you do your homework right? Did you target right? Social media is all about targeting. The name of the game is targeting. If you go to an outside agency and you pay them money, you're not paying them the money to create a creative. A creative is easy. You can go on Canva and create one. You are paying them money because they're going to leverage their expertise for targeting. Do remember that in general promotions with good targeting, the average conversion is around 1 to 2%. And that is if you're lucky. In case you are niche specific, with razor sharp targeting, this would probably go up to about 5%. Now 5% is great. For 5%, I would say that's excellent. If we were running niche specific ads and we had a 5% conversion rate, I would be jumping with joy. Now, if you have proper lead magnets on your site, this 5% that is converting and coming to your website will actually start converting eventually because they get right information. You are trying to get them a checklist, you're trying to give them something just in exchange for their email address. So you have a higher chance of converting them. Now, since we do realize that the leads do not self-convert, we need to retarget to them. So what would retargeting be? Retargeting would be if a person clicked on an advertisement, landed on the page, but did not see our thank you page because he did not subscribe or he did not take the lead magnet, then we need to retarget him. So if he would have seen the thank you page, then we would not need to show him any other advertisement. We can use our email marketing for that. But if he's come to the website, but he's not subscribed, then we need to show him the ads again. Remember, 15 to 20 touch points are needed. We use a whole lot of options as to how we retarget the prospects. How we retarget them is different from client to client. I use multiple options how to retarget the prospects. I recommend multiple options. My retargeting options differ from client to client, destination to destination, and it's largely dependent on what kind of money do you want to spend and what is your budget. So that is where the main crux is. As far as possible, use automation in your business so that no tasks are missed. A small to medium travel agency can do a mix of 2 automation tools that I've spoken about in one of my videos, Zapier and Automate. Now, what will happen when you start automating your tasks with Zapier and Automate? A, your data will flow seamlessly between various platforms. B, you will eliminate human errors. So do take a look at this video and understand how you can set up your automation. So at least your data is flowing seamlessly between your various tools that you use. Just to sum it up, this is an overview of what we do. The actual process is when I'm sitting with a client, it's a little bit more detailed. I'm there every step of the way. I help them with practically day-to-day operations, tell them what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong. Processes, we change a lot of processes around, which unfortunately on a video I cannot show you that well. It's all detailed consulting the people because every process is customized to suit that particular client. But the overview is the same. Remember the things. Be loyal to your niche. So first and foremost, find your niche. Find out how big your audience is. Choose your tools properly and wisely. What hosting, what email marketing. Set up your retargeting options right. Create enough lead magnets and embrace advertisement. Embrace social advertisement. If you're not doing social advertisement, you're actually leaving money on the table. You're losing out. You're not getting new leads to come in. You're not creating a brand recall. And be consistent with all of it. These are crucial things. Consistency is the most important. Don't get disheartened if you're operating in a niche and you don't get anything for the first 2-3 months, or the results are not as good as you wanted them to be. I hope this video has helped you. If it did help you, I would truly appreciate if you subscribe to the channel. Do press the like button. Your like tells YouTube the content is relevant and it gets shown to other people as well, which in turn helps the channel grow. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments and I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you for your time. This is Vishal Mehra signing off. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.